WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. The news out of Iraq is not really connected with this next interview, but I want to use a part of it just because there's something very fascinating about this horrible, disturbing circumstance that's happening over there. And one of the piece that it connects to our next interview, I think, is the fact that the Sunni, the guys that are the bad guys, okay, for lack of a better way to say it, they've got $2 billion, okay? And so there was this discussion that, well, $2 billion is really not real. They don't really have $2 billion in cash sitting around. It's somehow electronic money, and therefore somebody who knows hacking skills can just make it disappear, and suddenly they don't have any money. Right? Well, I was thinking, wow, that sounds like a good idea. Then I realized, well, they could do that to me too. Couldn't somebody just say, you got no money? Because I don't usually have any actual cash on me. Usually I don't. I got a card, or I buy stuff on PayPal and stuff like that. And now you're hearing some new words in our vocabulary, like the word Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right? What the heck is a Bitcoin? We had this discussion once before, and we stumbled through it Well, we weren't trying to pretend we knew. What we were trying to do is use Google to explain Bitcoin. And we did. And I think was it $1,000? One Bitcoin?
It was huge.
And don't we have a company that advertises with us that accepts Bitcoin?
Yeah.
And how do you accept a Bitcoin when it's way worth more than a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
One Bitcoin is worth whatever it is. And I think I just looked, it was 500, just unless that's an old thing I was looking at. Edward Castronova is going to help us out with this. He is a professor of telecommunications and cognitive science at Indiana University. He's the founder of Scholarly Online Game Studios. He's an expert on the societies of virtual world. He appeared on 60 Minutes, and his book that helps us understand a lot of this stuff is called Wildcat Currency: How the Virtual Money Revolution is Transforming the Economy. Edward, we're all ears from now on. Edward Castronova, we want to know about this. Well, how are you? Good morning, Edward.
I'm doing okay. How are you, Larry?
Pretty good. First, the question is, how did the sound improve? I know I should ask you off the air, but I can't because it changes when we go on the air. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, you're still really fuzzy and kind of breaking up, but I think I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry that it's fuzzy like that. Okay.
Okay.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Bloomington, Indiana.
Oh, okay. I always wanted to go there. Bloomington.
Yeah.
Or Indiana.
Nice town. You should come.
So let's see. As an online game guy, is this where it all started? When kids were, not just kids, but people were playing these games, and you had this virtual money, and then people were literally paying for virtual money because they didn't want to work to get the virtual money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, this all started. You could say it's all been play tested. It's all been incubated in these big online games that people have heard about. And it was all fantasy 10 years ago. I'll sell you my magic armor for 100, gold coins. And then some kids would accumulate a lot of the coins, and they'd go on eBay, and they'd say, I'm quitting the game. I'll sell my, 100,000 coin, my treasure.
For real money?
For like $500. And people said, okay.
Oh, gee.
And then some entrepreneurs saw that and said, why are we keeping this in the games? So basically Bitcoin and its fellows are trying to implement these kind of game currencies for the real world.
Wow. But how do you do that? I mean, aren't there laws? I mean, money is...
No laws.
There's no laws?
No, there's no... I mean, people have made up their own money for a long, long time in the United States. The only thing that's against the law is if you sat down and you made a coin and you called it $1, because that would now you're doing counterfeit. So as long as you're making a coin that does not appear to the eyes of a jury to be, trying to counterfeit the United States money,
right.
You're completely in the clear.
So, in a sense, is a coupon a virtual currency? The store says, here's $1 off your next SpaghettiOs or something?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is a virtual currency. It's not anything. I think somebody actually have made metal versions of it, but it's just it's a purely digital thing. He lives on computers.
And how is the value determined? Like, if I went to look right now, and I don't know anything about this, so I just Googled it, just so you know. And I don't know how accurate this is, but it says 1 Bitcoin equals $595.75.
Yeah, right. So ask yourself, why does that thing have value? And you know what? It's the same question as, why does my share of General Motors stock have value? It only has value because somebody else will take it from me, right? If you think about it, all of our money is actually like that. It's not like the dollars in my pocket, I can go change them in for gold from the government. It only has value because, other people kind of believe, those little pieces of paper have value. So it's kind of the magic of psychological expectations behind all of this, and it supports the dollar and it supports Bitcoin too.
So how do you use it? If one coin is worth, and by the way, when I refreshed the screen, it went down $1 or so.
Oh.
Now it's $5.94.20. Listen, I'm going to try it again. It says $5.94.25. I'm going to refresh the screen. $5.94.25. Refresh the screen. $5.96. It went up again. So I mean, if I buy some, do I buy them? I mean, do I actually send real money to somebody and buy these Bitcoins?
Yeah. What you have, so from the user's standpoint, you have a little program on your computer, a little icon. You click it, and that's called a wallet. And the wallet says, okay, you have this many Bitcoins, and then you can put in the wallet of somebody else, somebody else's email, and the two wallets talk to each other. And you can do things like connect your bank account to your Bitcoin wallet, and then you can use dollars to buy other people's Bitcoin. Or you can go to these exchanges, which is what you're looking at. Yeah.
And there was a story, I think, last week, how the U.S. government crushed some drug dealers, and they found this wallet of Bitcoin, and they found this Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah, they found $18 million, real dollars.
Wow.
Of Bitcoin deposits, and they're auctioning it all off because it's just like if they found a bunch of drug dealers' Cadillac Escalades. They got to sell it.
Okay, now let's talk about the book, because I want to make sure that the listeners, because we could talk about this all day long and everybody will be confused. But the book is concrete. Well, it's paper actually, but it's virtual concrete. All right, so it's called Wildcat Currency. Let's start with the title. What does that mean?
So I don't know if people might remember back in the 20s when the oil was discovered, like in Oklahoma and Texas, and people just ran out there and started plunking down oil derricks in the ground. And there wasn't any oversight, there was no regulation, there was no law, and those guys were called wildcatters. Oh, okay. And I think that's exactly what's going on now. It's anybody who wants to, you, me, anybody can go make up a new money, for better or for worse.
I can make up a new money?
Yeah, you can just, you could make your own money.
You just put a letter and then you put 2 lines through it, because that's what the Bitcoin is. It's like the dollar sign is the S with the 2 lines through it. Yeah. The Bitcoin is the B with 2 lines through it.
Yeah, right. And there's other ones. There's like, you wouldn't believe it. There's Litecoin. There's Nautilus coin. There's Marine coin. There's a coin based on an internet meme called the Doge, which is just a dog that says things like, much sun, real fun, and they made a coin out of it. There's even Potcoin coming out of, guess where, Colorado.
Oh,
wow. Okay, I'm sorry.
How is this affecting the stock market and also the euro currency and the currency from other countries?
Right now, it's not having any effect, right? This is a bunch of people looking at something that could blow up and become big. And I think the idea of these cryptocurrencies is going to blow up. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to be the one, but I think right now it's small, and people are just sort of thinking about, oh my gosh, remember how we didn't have social networks in 2004, and then in 2010 everyone was on Facebook?
Yeah, right.
Is that what's going on?
Right. So will Bitcoin be broken down into smaller currencies? I think I'm stuck on the dollar amount. If I go the list of who accepts Bitcoin according to the internet, Amazon accepts them, CVS Pharmacy accepts them, Subway.
Yeah.
Wow.
Subway accepts Bitcoin. But how do you buy a Subway sandwich with a Bitcoin?
With a Bitcoin. You can get Dish Network with Bitcoin. So look, it's like when you take a quarter, right? That's a quarter of a dollar. Well, imagine if you could take a dollar and split it into infinitely many little fractional units of value. And that's what, since it's digital, you can do that with Bitcoin. So if you want to buy a sub sandwich, you don't use 1 Bitcoin, you use 0.0004 Bitcoins or whatever.
Oh, okay.
a
Wow.
$5 stuff turns into.
But I mean, how would I literally do that? I mean, do I go across the street to the Subway shop and say, you know, I don't have any money, but I got some Bitcoin. Do you take that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean your smartphone is going to talk to the cash register, and you and the person behind the cash register are just going to sit there and watch while those two machines work it out.
Have you done this? Have you done this?
Yeah. I've never done it. No, because I think there's too much variability in this. As you saw, right? It just goes up.
It's going up and down the whole time we're talking. Yeah.
So I'll keep paying in dollars as long as people still take them, and and they still have the same value tomorrow, roughly, as what they have today.
You compare this to S&H green stamps. I remember the green stamps.
Yeah.
And it was just so great going to the store, and I'd collect them, and then go to the green stamp store and purchase things with the stamps.
Yeah. So this is why, a lot of these new crypto coins, they try to connect to something else that's kind of cool. Like there's one called Pink Coin, which is about breast cancer research. So, a share of every transaction in Pink Coin goes to fund research. And with the green stamps from the past, you could imagine, what if someone digitized that system, right? Then it could, you could become an international currency.
You could literally make monopoly money valuable.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's the digital part makes monopoly money a viable alternative currency.
Mm-hmm. But you're buying, in some cases, you're buying tangible things, not virtual things. You're buying, I can understand with the video games. There was one story about, it was a video game, and there was some kind of a spaceship that cost like 10,000 coins or something like that. And somebody bought one with real money, bought the coins, and then bought the thing with the... Anyway, and then somebody stole it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody stole it.
I mean, we got to be careful about what's real and what isn't. Let's never mind virtual currencies and games for a second. There's a lot of stuff in the real economy that's just not tangible. Like I'm looking out. I live in a neighborhood. I'm looking out at the houses around me. They look nice, but I know there's just a facade on the front. And so people are paying money to have the front of their houses look like it's some kind of a mansion or something.
Right.
And that's not real. Or like people pay more to make their car red. What is that?
Yeah.
What value is in that? And
that's
there's something
interesting.
to it, but it's not tangible.
Well, and let's see, how do I even express this? I mean, when I was younger, obviously music would be on a record. A record was a tangible thing, but the real thing I was buying was the sound that was reproduced by that needle running through that groove. And that's really intangible. So therefore, there's really not much difference between paying $1 for like a download from iTunes versus whatever it was back then, 69 cents for a 45 RPM vinyl record.
Or you go to Disneyland, right? You spend incredible amounts of money, and you walk away with what? A memory. And some kids who are crying.
Oh, no.
Because they're tired.
Yeah, but you got money. Well, I don't know. You got I don't know.
This is just a moment where we're starting to realize just how much of our transactions involve these kind of, ephemeral, intangible things. And money is one of them.
And if we bring up green stamps and that kind of thing, then it occurs to us that this is not new.
No, God, the money part is as old as people. I mean, people have used beaver pelts as money, cigarettes in POW camps. There's one island in the South Pacific where they have these massive stones. They don't even move the stones. What they do is they change the ownership of the stone. So it's like yesterday you owned stone A, and now I did something for you, so you gave stone A to me.
Oh, it's like a timeshare.
There.
That's a timeshare condominium. That's what that sounds like.
It's like big rock money.
Yeah. Well, and timeshare condominiums, you don't really own anything, but you have a week or two, whatever it is, per year. You spend a lot of money for that week or two also.
How is the Federal Reserve embracing this?
I would not. Embracing is not the word.
Okay.
They don't like it at all.
Not cowering in fear either. I mean, there's the government and it's the IRS and the Federal Reserve. They're watching it very, very closely. The European Central Bank put out a report a couple years ago saying this is a significant thing, but it's still small. So it could be that this is just a bunch of hype, and these things are going to go away. My own thinking, though, is there's going to be a Facebook in this space it's going to solve all these problems, like this up and down in the value. And you mentioned in the lead-in about people can get hacked. Okay, well, somebody's got to make sure and convince everyone that doesn't get hacked. And then the third part of it, I think that somebody's got to solve is, what? Not everybody can just pull a smartphone out, walk up to a cash register, and make all that work. It's got to be a lot easier than that. I pull a credit card out of my pocket, bam, done. People understand that. So there's some, user interface work that has to be done. But I think if a currency figures all that out, then Katie by the door, it could get really big.
Katie by the door. I got to remember that expression.
Yeah.
Katie by the door. So when we if I going back to the Subway example, I go to the Subway. Let's say half the people who go to Subway this year buy their Subway sandwiches with Bitcoin. That's a lot of revenue that is not in the form of dollars. So how do they report that to their and can they pay their employees with Bitcoins and get away with the whole income tax thing?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine, okay, that's the world that maybe we live in, is that all of a sudden in 5 years companies are paying their employees in Bitcoin and then going to court saying, hey, this wasn't, in dollars, so it's not taxable, no income tax. There's a lot of incentive to do it that way. At the same time, there's a lot of incentive for the government to watch those things. And we're in a phase now where the government is deciding what to do. I'm sure if a company as big as Subway started paying its employees in Bitcoin and then saying, there's no income tax here, we're just, it's like giving them extra sandwiches or something.
Right.
I think the government would crack down on that. But at the same time, it's an arms race, right? Because, okay, so you're not paying them in Bitcoin, you're paying them with Dogecoin or Potcoin or something.
Right. Wow, it's amazing. The Kmart, Sears, Home Depot, they're all on the list of people or companies, rather, that accept Bitcoin.
Wow. But how can the normal person afford to even buy a Bitcoin?
Well, maybe you can buy a share of one. Like buy, not a share, but a fraction.
Oh, I could buy one right now? I could buy like $1 worth or something?
Yeah, you could go, get one of these Bitcoin wallets and go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
maybe I'll do it. Maybe it'll be fun. I mean, maybe it's almost like a game then, isn't it? I mean, it's like investing small time.
Right, and there are a lot of people who do it just to be hip at this point in the game, right? Like, oh, yeah, I paid for my coffee with Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to try this. I want to try. I mean, I could do.
Yeah.
You mean I could do it right now? This is not limited to like certain states, right? I could do it here in Florida.
Oh yeah, anywhere. I mean, that's one of the advantages of these things is that they're international. They're not encumbered by any.
Oh, I'm going to ask.
So,
He's going to buy one.
Wait a minute. Is Starbucks on
here? People use them. You get on a boat, you go to another country. You don't need to do currency transaction. You just use Bitcoin.
Oh, right.
Is this going to affect the gold standard at all?
Yeah, I mean, indirectly, I think these things are going to affect monetary policy. Even though it's indirect, it'll be significant, right? Because if I'm the Federal Reserve, I have to say, well, what is the money supply in people's hands right now? I can count the dollars, kind of, and the euros and the yen, but it's like, oh God, now they've got a bunch of their value in Bitcoins. What are those things worth? And everybody went crazy for Litecoin and Dogecoin, and what are all those things worth?
Right. Now, I started out the interview, Edward, with a reference to the situation in Iraq right now, and the fact that the Sunnis they have $2 billion, and one of the talking points this morning was that we have the ability to just obliterate their money like in a heartbeat, just a snap of a finger. Yeah. Well, if that's true, then can't the exact opposite happen? Like, let's say it's an impoverished country. Well, we'll snap of a finger. We'll load it up with a gazillion dollars worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah, that both kinds of things would be considered, a fraud on the network, and it's debatable right now how easy it is to do. The only reason Bitcoins have worked and the other cryptocurrencies have worked so far is that the protocol that protects them, the software protocol, is actually pretty tight. If there's been any hacking and stealing, it's been kind of at the level above the coin. In other words, there's some company is doing transactions with them, and the transactions get hacked. But the actual Bitcoin ownership has so far been secure, because the people who made it are, really, really sharp, and it's generally understood why it's secure and how it works. So the people who are experts in this area aren't too worried about hacking. But there's things like governments could like shut down all the communications, right? That doesn't affect the basic protocol of how the bitcoins work. But if these Sunni guys need to transfer money to other people, they can shut down those communications, and boom, it's like your money is worthless.
So there is an entity that really is guaranteeing the value of the Bitcoin?
Entity, that's a good word.
Yeah. Because it's got to be more than one person.
Well, no, what it is, it's the software by which all these wallets talk to each other is the entity. Isn't that weird? It's when I send Larry some Bitcoins, that gets communicated to the entire network. And then if Larry goes to somebody else in the system and says, "Hey, he gave me 20 instead of 10," every other computer knows, no.
Oh.
He only gave you 10. So, and there's no people involved, right? It's just communication.
Oh, so
that's transparent.
Oh, really? So there's no more. I gave you a 20 and you gave me change for a 10. Everybody knows what I gave you. There's no cheating.
Yeah.
Or even even innocent mistakes. Wow.
Wow.
Peer-to-peer security is what that is.
Wildcat Currency is the title of the book. Edward Castronova wrote the book, and he's on the phone, and we have a copy of the book that I would like to give away. Hopefully we've been fair to the book. The subtitle is How the Virtual Money Revolution is Transforming the Economy. The book helps explain a lot of this stuff that is confusing, and maybe it'll be something you embrace. I don't know. I mean, we embrace PayPal. When I first found out about PayPal, I was really reluctant,
Yeah.
But I use it all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you develop a sixth sense. Like when I do internet transactions, I can tell if the website is run by a guy out of his basement as opposed to being, an actual company.
Really?
See, I didn't know that 10 years ago.
I'll have to call you. I don't know. I never know. I never know. All right, let me give this one away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
It's Anne.
Okay, Anne. The book will be waiting for you here at the studio.
I'm mystified by these, or fascinated, I guess is the word. But one thing I want to say, the other day I was in Target here, and this lady was checking stuff out, and every so often she'd hold up her phone, and this woman would put that thing where they read the bar for the money on the phone, and then she would do some more stuff, and then finally, after doing 2 or 3 things using her phone, she took out this big tablet, and then they started doing something with the tablet. And this is how she was, I guess, paying for her purchase, plus she was getting things back like the cards, the gift card things.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It was just, I was standing there like, what? She'd hold up her phone, and she would take the thing, and then she took out the tablet later, and then they did something, and instead of like her giving her $10 and somebody giving her back change, she gave her back these gift cards. I don't know. I know maybe the lady buying them. I don't know, because I don't know exactly what was going on. But anyway, I'm thrilled to read this because it just fascinates me that you have something that's nothing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, well, you've got the book. It'll be waiting for you, Anne, okay? Thank you for calling. It'll be waiting for you here. It's called Wildcat Currency. And what occurred to me is if prostitution is illegal because you can't spend money, you wouldn't get arrested. You would say, wait a minute, I didn't exchange money. I tapped my iPhone to her iPhone.
This is great.
Edward, am I right about this?
Entrepreneurial.
I didn't give her any money. I tapped my phone. We didn't lose you, did we, Edward? Is he gone? Edward, are you there?
I'm still here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
When you guys are laughing, that's when it's big static for me. I know you're laughing.
Oh, okay. Well, let me, before we run out of time, how did the rest of it, we gave one book away. How did the rest of us go buy it?
Yeah, sure. Please do.
And we do that how? What's your website?
Oh, we just go to Amazon. If you just type the name Castronova into Amazon, it should pop up.
And his name, Edward Castronova, sounds exactly, spelled exactly as it sounds.
Wildcat Currency.
Can we buy it with Bitcoin?
You know what? They haven't gotten that far. I think Amazon, isn't that weird? I think Amazon allows you to use a thing called Amazon Coin to buy what you might call intellectual property. So like, music and books and things for your Kindle. So you might, if you really want to dive in, you could go that route.
And I've earned some on my Kindle. I've earned some of those, and I never realized. And I've actually used them because it's almost like frequent flyer miles or something like that. Yeah.
That's another place that these things came from. It's kind of a combination of game currencies.
Wow.
And these rewards points. And
Edward, we are out of time. Thank you so much for being on the air with us. Great conversation, and answered a lot of questions about something that's going to be confusing for a long time, I'm sure. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Hey, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Pilger, Nebraska, reeling from deadly tornadoes. A 5-year-old child killed.
We just got off the phone with the sheriff of Stanton County.